All right, welcome everybody to episode 11 of the RacPacShow. Coming off our 1 week break, we had we all kind of had some busy schedules, so we just decided we needed to just take a week off. But first and foremost, wanted to announce our $25 Amazon gift card giveaway winner, and it's going to go to Cody Lewis. Cody Lewis, you are the winner. So congratulations to you. We will reach out to you very soon and get information over to you so you can get your prize. But with that being said, we just probably want to just quickly recap kind of the Super Bowl. I know it's been, an extra week since, so it's been a little while, but kind of wanted to give our thoughts, a little recap. We all got together for it. Obviously, I thought it was it was a good Super Bowl. I was glad it was a good game. I'd said like I was rooting for Cincinnati, and I was a little nervous that it was going to be a blowout in the Rams' favor, but we got a good game. It was a close game all the way until the end, and it was nice to see Stafford get a ring and Donald and OBJ. Really sucks that he injured his knee again, but I thought it was a really good game, and kind of what everyone thought was going to happen in terms of Burrow just being under duress, really in the second half. But I thought it was a good Super Bowl, good game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game. Won some money myself. Overall, it was good. It's a fun time, like you said. As long as it was a close game, that's all that really matters. I don't want to get too detailed into the game, but the last couple minutes, some sketchy calls, all that. But at the end of the day, I guess I'm happy for Matt Stafford. Not really, but I guess I am. Sure, whatever. Ramsey got burnt. Let's let everybody know. Ramsey got murdered by Jamar
Torched.
Chase. I don't want
T.
that
Higgins.
going somewhere. But yeah, he's a Super Bowl champion, so no one's going to talk about it. But whatever. I think Rams are done. I think they're not going to be good next year. Not good. I don't think they're going to be as good as they are next year. That's my prediction.
Yeah. I mean, the last time a team repeated was the Patriots in like 2000. Was that 3-0-3-0-4 around there? Somewhere around there.
Well, I mean, they're gonna lose OBJ, but they're gonna gain who got
Robert
hurt?
Woods
Their
that
wide
got
receiver.
hurt.
Yeah,
Robert Woods, yeah. I mean,
I don't
but
know.
that's if OBJ leaves. I mean,
OBJ
he
will
said he was
probably. Well, the
gonna
thing
take
is,
a
like,
pay cut.
regardless, is I think like because I think it's a torn ACL. Did they officially announce it? I know that was like what was feared or
I
whatever.
didn't even really
No idea.
Well,
look into it.
assuming it's that, like, I think the timetable for his return would literally be like December, January. So he'd literally be back for like playoffs next year, if that were the case. But I mean,
I mean, Donald came out and said if they re-signed Odell and Von Miller, he would consider me because me personally, I think he's done. I don't know why. He's obviously young and he's in shape, but
like the best player in the league.
if he wants
Not the
out,
greatest
he
one.
wants out, and if he definitely leaves, then that team is in. I'm not saying that team's going to be in shambles, but they're not going to be as good as they were, especially with no Von Miller, no
Definitely
Aaron
not.
Donald. I don't think Von Miller's staying. I honestly don't. But Odell is an LA guy and loves LA for some reason, so he's probably going to stay. But it's just we'll see. I just don't see the Rams doing.
Yeah, that team's gonna be all offense.
Is Cooper Kupp going to have the same year as he did last year? Who knows?
I mean, he doesn't have to. With getting Higbee back
like
and
the only
getting
thing I
Woods back.
the only thing I will say is like, dude, the NFC with Brady gone and like obviously Rodgers is up in the air right now. Like, there's like the Niners who have Trey Lance. I mean, Kyler's got some drama going on. The NFC North, like if Rodgers isn't there, like there's a really good team there. The NFC South without Brady is a mess. The NFC East, like Dallas, like do we trust Dallas? So it's just like the NFC's so weak that like
AFC is a powerhouse. My early prediction is Bills already, but as far as winning the Super Bowl, but it's a different topic. But yeah, overall, I thought Bengals played well. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase did what Jamar Chase does. And,
yeah, it was just they're quiet in the second half was the only thing really. I feel like in the first half, like the Bengals kind of like were like kind of trying to like stay above ground, like keep steady ground. Like they were trying to just like keep the game close early on. And then obviously, they open up the second half with that huge play to T. Higgins. But after that, it was just like they could not get anything going. Like it was just a lot of like, Burrows under duress all night, and um, the Rams eventually were able to just put together one drive after like the whole second half to take the lead. And then we know what happened. Aaron Donald stuffed them on the third and I think it was 3rd and 1. 3rd and 2, mate. Third and 1.
3rd and 1, and it was 4th and 1.
Yeah, and then 4th and 1, he got right by again and forced a bad pass. But
yeah, they'll be back. I don't know about next year. I don't see it, to be honest with you, but they'll be back.
Yeah, I don't know about next year because like here's the thing is like if you look at the Bengals like this past year, like they did get a lot of breaks. Like you think about the Ravens before the season started, they lost like their top 2 running backs, top 2 corners. Lamar went down at like halfway through the year. Cleveland, Baker was hurt all year. Pittsburgh, they might get a decent like, regardless of what you think of like a Jimmy G kind of guy, better than what Big Ben was this past year. So like if they get a competent quarterback, like they're a threat. So it's not going to be an easy division. And now like like they had no expectations last year. They were coming off a 4-win season. So like they exceeded. No one saw that coming. I think they were 150 to 1 odds to make the Super Bowl before the season started. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It was definitely a cool thing to see. Was like I can't remember the last time NFL wise that like a team went from like worst to first like that, like 4-win, like really low win team to like the Super Bowl. I can't remember, at least in recent history. I mean, the Bucks were 7-9, but like that's a little different. They got Tom Brady, so it's just like I don't know. I can't remember the last time that happened. I mean, granted. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like you have to have a good quarterback. That's what, like, if you look at the league right now, like, there's only one team that really made it far without one. That was San Fran, and Jimmy G isn't horrible. But
yeah,
like I said, a little quick recap is just if you're not going to call anything for the games, don't call at all.
Yeah,
like don't ruin the game by making a call at the end.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think like, I mean, we said this like I don't know. I felt like throughout like the whole playoffs, each episode we're talking about like how bad NFL officiating was, and like, dude, the whole game it was nice. They were letting them play. Like, I don't know. It was just like it felt good to like not see a flag every other fucking play. But and then like you're right, they were not consistent at the end of the game. Like stuff that was not being called all game, is all of a sudden being called. Like you could say it's a hold, but like I don't know. I think the one they called on 3rd down, personally, I don't even think that was a hold. Like the one they called on, I think it was Eli Apple, was a hold. But it's just like I don't know. I think stuff that the players were doing all game, not getting flagged for, all of a sudden they're still doing it and they're getting flagged. I do think reffing the game consistently, NFL definitely has to like look into for next year.
Either call it all or don't fucking call it. I mean, that's what it is, and you're either gonna. That's what the fans are pretty much asking for. So,
yep,
it is what it is. But like Ryan said, 3rd and 1. Why don't you have Mixon out there?
Yeah, that
questionable play calling, but hey, Rams are champs, and
I'm gonna say this like from now on, like for the rest of my life. I want to know how close he was to that ball. At the end.
I've seen different angles. I saw different angles.
Did they have an angle like facing?
Like, could he if he
had an angle like at like the end zone, like some fan was recording it, and I mean he was. Maybe like 6, 7.
I mean, at least
he could have dove.
Dude,
made an effort, but
regardless, like
you fucking dive.
Regardless, you know that if that ball hits the ground, the game's over. You lost. So why not dive for it? Even if it's not close enough, like you got to try.
Right.
But yeah,
and I don't know if it was that same angle that I saw that Ramsey was also burned on that play by Jamar.
Yeah, and
so if he had another 2 seconds,
that goes in line
game's
over with the offensive line. Like, dude, if you think about it, like at the Bengals get like. Their ownership's known to be very cheap, but they get some upgrades.
They know what they have now. Dude. They know what they have.
Think about it, like, if they're granted, I don't know if their defense can stay as hot as they were in the playoffs, but I mean, shit, they get an offensive line that might be That's probably the top
What
three
defense
offense
does
in
stay
the
hot
NFL.
though? Everything's offense these days, anyway. So
Yeah, and you think about it. Say the Bengals get great protection next year. That's easily a top 3
yeah,
offense in the league. So
the defense that you need to pay for is your offensive line. That's your defense to protect the quarterback.
I'd rather have a great defense with a great average offense that can get you somewhere because I'm not saying Stafford's
You've
an
had
elite
that in
quarterback.
Chicago. It doesn't get
Average
you anywhere.
quarterback. Who do we have as an average quarterback?
Trubisky.
He's not average.
Here's the thing. He's
below
with that,
average.
I think
You still have the best defense in the league, and it didn't get you anywhere in playoffs.
With today's NFL, obviously you have to have a good defense, man. But like, dude, quarterback is like
Stafford's
the number one thing.
He's great, but he's not. He's good. He's not that great.
He's pretty good. I think
he's above average.
I think Stafford's pretty fucking good. I mean,
he throws a lot of picks.
He was the best fourth quarter quarterback in the league this year. If you look at his stats, I mean, he threw some picks this year, but like, I don't know. In my opinion, I mean, Joe Burrow threw more, and we think Joe Burrow is this fucking prodigy. Joe Burrow threw more picks than Stafford, so.
Yeah, I think that's more of him like trying to get rid of the ball because he's getting hit so many fucking times.
I mean, dude, they're like, that's the thing is like, the guy's not afraid to take a risk, and neither is that's how Burrow is. That's how Mahomes is. That's how Josh Allen is. They're not afraid to take a risk. That's why Rodgers doesn't throw picks. Rodgers doesn't really take any risks.
Well, and also, like I said, the picks stat itself needs to be changed because if players are dropping balls and they're getting intercepted, that's not the quarterback's fault.
No, of course not.
In no way, shape, if it hits both hands or whatever, regardless, or a player's trying to tip it to himself, that is no way, shape, or form of quarterback's fault.
Mm-hmm. No, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But at least for me, like I said, good Super Bowl. But I think I said it last episode. Like I like to kind of have a team I dislike and a team I'm rooting for. This Super Bowl, like I said, like I was rooting for the Bengals.
Yeah, split between almost.
Yeah, I was like, I think I was rooting for the Bengals, but at the end of the day, I didn't mind if the Rams win. I felt like when we all got together with our friends or whatever, like I felt like everyone I asked was like, yeah, I'm rooting for the Bengals, but at the end of the day, like, doesn't really matter. That's kind of like the vibe I got from literally everybody. Was that like,
yeah,
like last year, like I was really for the Chiefs. I think Calabrese was really for the Chiefs, and then like you had Ryan was really for the Bucks. You and I think Arcangeli was really for the Bucks as well. So it's just like didn't really have that in the Super Bowl for me. Like there's the 2 Denver Super Bowls, I didn't like either team, and that's even worse. Like either way, someone I don't like is gonna win. So I definitely do like to have a team I like and dislike. Definitely includes the Super Bowls for me. But congratulations to the Rams for finally winning after the last couple of years after going all in. But caps off NFL season. So finally we can get into some baseball here, hopefully, with the lockout. So I know.
I mean.
They
got to have it by Monday.
Where do we begin here?
An agreement.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say they got to have an agreement by Monday. They don't. There's no full season. How long do you think the season's gonna be if they don't reach an agreement? I'm gonna say like 120.
You think about it, right? So
no season.
So
you're crazy.
There's too much money. There's too much money to be made for them to cancel this.
Too much money as it is.
I know. I mean, the MLB has already canceled the first week of spring training. And then you got to realize they still have to do like full spring training. So like if they're canceling games, that it might be similar to the COVID year. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that point. Like I don't know. I'm hoping at worst they cancel like 20, 30 games and it's like 120, 130 game season, somewhere in there. Because, dude, if there's another, like, Mickey Mouse 60-game year, that would just suck, man. Like, I don't know. It sucks. Because, think about it. If it was a 60-game season again, that means the season's not starting until, what, May, June? Like, shit.
Yeah. But even with that, though, because that comes back, they saw how many injuries there were this past year. Not having a full season and then trying to go through a full season. Or another 100 games, I should say.
Yeah, and
I mean, that is just so much wear and tear in your body. It's not gonna work out that way.
I mean, the big problem is like they seem to be just making no progress. Like they can meet all these times they want. They're meeting every day. It's just like every meeting they come out and it's just like, yeah, very little to no progress was made. Like I remember the one game.
It's more the players trying to stand their ground, which I
Yeah,
understand. They want more stuff and all that stuff, but it's like in the end, the owners own the fucking team. Like
it's from a
you're getting paid
fan's
a lot of money anyways.
perspective. It's really it's just an awful situation because it's just like, dude, like I know none of us like I know basketball is like one of the like the second most popular sport in America, but like at least out of us three, none of us really have much interest in the NBA. Like playoffs, I'll follow more, but like I just don't really have much interest in like baseball. Like once football ends, like I'm ready for baseball. I think that's how both of you are too. Obviously, you guys have a lot of interest in hockey as well, but I feel like once football starts, like all right, when are we getting into the MLB season? It kind of has that
That's how I
like
am
getting.
too.
It kind of goes in the same feel of like, oh, it's gonna start getting warmer out. Like I don't know. So it just sucks. It just feels like almost like COVID all over again. Obviously, it's not COVID influence, but like I don't know, we're sitting here kind of like we don't know what's gonna happen. We're just kind of sitting and hoping that we don't have a date. Like I remember Nico told us that I think it was I forgot what meeting it was, but there was a meeting where they were there for 15 minutes and the MLB Player Association literally walked out. Like it was like that bad. And then like the most recent one, 2 days ago or whatever, was like the MLB saw it as a step backwards. Just like I don't know. I feel like all these meetings, like every time it's like, oh, they're gonna be meeting every day. I'm like, oh, that's good. They're getting together. But I feel like I've yet to like see a notification or anything that's good news. All like just bad.
No, and the owners are giving more up. I've seen the proposals from the owners that they're giving up a little more. Like the whole, I think the one thing the players are fighting for are the minimum wage. I think it was at like 575,000. I think last year, and they want like 725 or 740. And the owners originally started at 600,000, and now they're up to 640. So it's like, I mean, come on, how much more money do these players need? I mean, in the end, you're playing baseball. Like, it's not like you're working in, 9 to 5 and you're making over $500,000.
Yeah.
But that doesn't even include you're getting, your meals before and after games and all this other stuff, equipment, everything, all this stuff. So it's like, how much? I mean, I get you got to provide for your family, but I mean, how many people provide for their family under $100,000 every year? So it's kind of like it's a lot.
Well, for me, it's like you have MLB has got all this money. So what's a couple $100,000 to them? MLB is a huge. They got so much money.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that.
I don't think they would be negotiating this hard and like canceling games if it wasn't something that like affects them. If you thought like if it was like what $10 is to you, right? Like, oh my god, we're doing all this over $10. Like, I don't think they'd be putting up like I don't think there'd be this much of a fight about it. So it's got to affect them in some way. Like if the minimum salary, right? Like at the end of the day, if it's like okay, you raise that by 200 grand. Think about every single guy that I don't know what the number is, but every single guy that has that minimum now is all of a sudden making another 200K. That gets up there. But yeah,
But I mean, there's also stuff like it says the players union wants 115 million for international like proposed bonus pool and stuff like that, and the league only wants to give them like 20 mil. So it's like they're way far
yeah.
apart
I
on
remember
that. That's
seeing
not
that
going
too.
to
I
get
was
any
like,
closer.
Jesus.
Like I've heard before that like before this all kind of started, the players have like 5 things that they're trying to get, and they'll be lucky to get 2. So they need to pick and choose what they want, have it for the next whatever, however long this lasts, 7 years or whatever, and go back to the table in those years, and try and get the deal done before the lockout happens, so you don't have to deal with this in the future. There's no reason why a season should be pausing. Like when this lockout first started, these guys didn't fucking meet.
Mm.
Why are you spending? They didn't, and I know it was the holidays and stuff like that, but it's like you literally have beginning of December for say 2 weeks, and then you guys can have your holiday session, and then you come back after New Year's, and you guys didn't meet at all for 2 weeks. So it's like you have 2 months of stuff that you guys didn't do in in that timeline. No one was doing anything. No one was, talking to each other. No proposals would be thrown out. So it's like, get off your ass. You guys make enough money. Go meet with each other. And now all of a sudden they got to meet every day before the season gets canceled.
And as a fan,
because everyone, the fans are all in a shamble.
As a fan, it's super frustrating. Like, there's nothing like. It's like with COVID. There's nothing. At least with COVID, like, there's kind of nothing they could have done either. It's just pandemic.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's.
But this time now, it's like, and the baseball's in a time right now in America where like they're kind of losing popularity, and they're trying to like modernize the game in a way to like kind of cater more to like a new audience they're trying to grow. And like, dude, this shit doesn't help. Like, dude, when was the last time this happened in the NFL? Like, I don't know, a long time ago. Like, I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's really just hockey and baseball.
Yeah, and it's frustrating as a fan. It's super frustrating. Like, dude, this is such like it's all on the players and the owners. Like, dude, we're literally we're not literally suffering. Like, obviously they're the ones who have to deal with all this, but like as a fan, we're losing out on, like, especially the current fans, like on one of our favorite sports, because you guys are arguing over money, which is like so much more than most fans, which is also kind of a frustrating thing. It's just like, dude, I just want to watch my favorite players play baseball. I want, as a Cubs fan, there was a lot of hype coming around about us signing Correa, man. Like, I was so invested in that. I know Ryan was. We would talk about it for a while, and now with the lockout, nothing can happen.
And that's another thing is, if they do get it signed on Monday or by Monday, the owners and the rest of the organizations have a month to do months worth of work for free agents, trades, whatever else they need to get done. They would have had all this off time in the off season to do all this, and now they only have a month to do it. They got to figure out the rosters, figure out who's going to be on the major league roster and all that stuff. And it causes a bigger headache for these organizations because they're waiting so long to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, free agents, that's why I feel like some of these guys already signed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I know you said that the other day. Is like it wouldn't. After you said that, it like kind of, I was like, that's probably true. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if like the second this ends, all of a sudden, like right away, like boom, 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 like guys are just signing like back to back to back because they kind of have something verbal, or like, can't technically sign yet, but there's a verbal agreement type shit.
And as like a fan, that's going to be exciting to see, because you're like, oh, who's going to, like, oh, who's the next guy going to sign? What is my team going to sign, kind of thing, or who are we going to trade for?
Free agency was off to such like a hot start. Like, it was exciting. Like, you think
it was
back
like every other day.
You think back to about the Harper Machado year, dude. That was the most boring free agency, one of the most overhyped.
Because everyone was waiting for them to sign.
Yeah, and it was just they signed like 2 weeks before the season started.
And Zach Wheeler, I think, was in that one too.
Yeah, and it was just like, okay, we're waiting all this time, and they finally sign. It was just like boring. Like it like right away this year, you had like all the top pitchers went. Like Scherzer went, Robbie Ray went, Stroman, Gosman, like everyone was getting.
Gray.
It was really exciting. You had Seager and Semien, and dude, it was off to a hot start, and there's still so many. We're gonna get into that. So many big names out there. The one fun, like lighthearted part about it was like, it was kind of a clickbaity title. Like when I look back on it, but like I remember I was at the gym and I get the notification. It was like MLB to stop testing players for steroids. I was like, what? I was like, they're not gonna test for steroids, but I guess like the deal with the whatever the drug agreement deal signed, like ran out, and because of the lockout they can't, like, there's nothing they can do to like do a new one. So it's like for this month they're not testing. When I first saw that, I texted you guys, I'm like, get ready for some nukes this year if they're not testing
600-foot bombs by Stanton and Harper.
And I think we were like, oh sure, the second that Barry Bonds is no longer eligible for the Hall of Fame, they legalize steroids in the league. Which that's another thing, man.
If they don't test, I mean, they're not going to test. So how many more?
I know for a fact it was this.
Homers
it was the whole month of February.
They've been going up.
It's the whole month. Yeah, it's wild. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on?
I mean, you guys pretty much, like I said, like I know, like when the lockout ends, like who's to say that they're not ready-made deals already? And I mean, it's gonna be fun to see though, because even if it doesn't come out right away, like that short period of time is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a short period of just free agency lookouts, and that's always fun to look. Obviously, is what happens with free agents and the big free agents, and it's my prediction. I think they're going to settle it by Monday. That's my prediction.
Man, I hope. I fucking hope, but
I'm thinking like middle of March.
No,
if anything, end of March.
That's scary, man. Like, and the reason is like, you think about that, right? Okay, so if they're like, hey, by February 28th, I think is the date, we don't have this done, then all of a sudden regular season games are gonna start getting canceled. Yeah, I think like if we go another 2-3 weeks from there, that's they're just gonna be I think like they're gonna go week to week on that, on how many games like they're gonna be canceling. And like I said,
that's why
man,
here's what's fucking pissing me off is like MLB bitches about how they want to engage the younger audience of MLB to get into the be a fan, and because younger generations like, oh, it's too boring and blah blah blah, which real baseball fans don't care about that. We don't care. It could be a long game, doesn't matter. I'm not bored of the game at all, but you're trying to engage younger audience into this game, and now you're showing a bad example with this whole fucking lockout thing, and it's bullshit because it all comes down to money. And I get that it also players want to have their say and all that, but I mean, at the end of the day, just fucking get it together and fucking. I want a season. I want a fucking full season. I don't want.
I'm with you on that, and I know I
especially
know,
fantasy baseball.
Yeah, no, I know. I know like what you said about like, oh, they're trying to cater to the new fans and we don't care. Like, dude, for the people who always are like, dude, baseball's boring, like I would never watch baseball, dude, it's just like a different kind of viewing, like sports viewing experience, like football, football, like you're really like, even hockey, you're kind of more amped up, you're more like, I don't know, like
everything's action packed.
Baseball's like, dude, it's relaxing, it's chill, it's fun to watch, like it's still fun to watch. It's not like, I mean, there's exciting stuff, but like, dude, just watching a ball game during the day is just, I don't know. In my opinion, there's nothing like it. It's just a different viewing experience. I get it's not for everybody, but like, I don't know.
I mean, you go to the game, you see that green grass, you hear the sound of the ball off the bat and like leaving the yard, and there's like no other experience.
Baseball is one of my single favorite, like in terms of going to the game, bar none. I don't know. I love going to baseball games.
And I love small ball. Like I love the bunts. I love in oppo and like getting guys in, stealing all that stuff. So I think that always that's stuff like that always
And that's the kind of stuff that like that's the kind of stuff that like the new fans are trying to get, like don't want to see his bunts around. They want to see bombs. They want to see homers. They want to see
that, and like I don't know, perfect example. Like when we went to Cincinnati to go watch who they play.
Washington,
right? It was towards the end of the season. Two teams that are out of playoff contention, like they're just not good teams. And normally you wouldn't, care to watch that game, but an average baseball fan would have that game on if it was on television. And what happened? It was a decent game going on through the whole game. And if you're a fan of someone, like for example, I'm a huge fan of Nicholas Castellanos. And we're at the game.
Sox player.
Chill. And he's even if I was not at the game and it was on TV, I'd still be watching it. And we predicted, we're like, yeah, watch, he's gonna come up, he's gonna hit a walk-off homer to win the game, like just because we're here and made our trip to Cincinnati to visit our ballpark. And sure enough, hits a walk-off home run, and like that, awesome. That was an amazing experience. Whether you were at the game,
that was the first time I ever saw one in person.
So it's just like that, it just brings a different feel to the game. It's not like football.
To piggyback off that, we did our Dallas trip, and they hit a walk-off homer too. Two team, Texas.
Oh yeah,
trash.
Yeah,
we're going nowhere at all. We talked to all their fans that season, and they were dog shit.
They were playing Seattle, right?
They were playing Seattle, who were kind of in, they were in playoff potential till the end.
They were kind of like not expected to do much, but they had a decent year.
Yeah, they kind of surprised people. But yeah, that was just another example of, I think Texas was winning in the last inning. Seattle tied it up. We saw a really nice catch off the wall. We saw a walk-off homer. We saw a bunch of little stuff here and there, and it's just a cool experience.
Also, like, I'm not saying go out and do this, but another thing about baseball is like, I mean, football stadiums are the football stadiums. Like, yeah, every football stadium is different. It's still cool to see the atmosphere, but in my opinion, baseball stadiums are the number one as far as like architectural wise, like so
because
cool.
of how unique they are.
Yeah, so
like how you were saying, like football fields are different, but regardless, that's still that 120-yard field. The dimensions on the actual baseball field are different.
Dimensions, the background.
Yeah.
When we went to Pittsburgh, we sat behind the plate, the skyline of Pittsburgh.
And
I was at
bridge.
When I was at St. Louis had a beautiful background between the arch and buildings. It was beautiful when I was there. So like that's what little things like that, and of course the game, the game itself. But it's just I don't understand. I get people are like, listen, if you wouldn't skip out, Friday night with your friends to go watch a baseball game, stuff like that. I get that compared to like Sunday night, but.
I also feel like it's just like a more fan-friendly experience. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but like, dude, every game, the outfielders are playing catch with the fans and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, throwing balls.
I mean, that happens in football. Like, they'll play catch with fans occasionally, but it's just not. It's not the same. Like, it's every game in baseball. It's every outfielder. Like, they'll talk to you. If I've never sat in the outfield personally, but I know like you guys have, and I've heard stories of my friends going and talking to people. Or like talking to the players. Like I remember Ryan, you told me I think you were at a Cub game. I can't remember who it was.
It was I was with Jake. I mean, we were sat in the bleachers, and I'm not a big bleacher guy, but it was like free tickets, and they were playing the Mets. And at the time, Curtis Granderson was the center fielder, and I got like front row, and
Chicago boy.
And I forgot how it went, but it was basically like I think I was like calling out his name or whatever, and I forgot what I said. I said something. He asked me if I was on his fantasy baseball team or something. And I was like, no, dude. I'm like, you're not having a great season or something like that. And he was like, what? He was cool. He was fun. I was like, I'm kidding, but he was really cool. Like that was a fun experience to see. But yeah, something like that. The outfielders always engage with fans.
Yeah, it's
positive and negative.
Such a unique experience. Like I've told Ryan, like what we do a thing. Every year we try to go to at least one new baseball stadium. Eventually want to check them all off. And I told him, I'm like, what? And this is something that's like so unique in terms of baseball that you don't really see in other sports. Is like one thing I want to do once we go to Boston. I want to sit on the Monster. Like that's like that's a bucket list thing for me. Is like. That's not really a thing, like, in football and basketball. Like, in basketball, there's courtside, but that's every stadium, you know what I mean? Like, there's suites, but that's every stadium. Like, there's no there's only one green monster in baseball. That's what I will say is, like, I would say football's my favorite sport, but you don't see us doing this, like, oh, we're going to try to go to a football stadium every year. It's just not the same. Like, MLB stadiums are...
Well, that and... the price of them, because there's 17 games now, but
yeah, and dude, you can get baseball tickets for cheap too. I think that is another really appealing thing. Like, dude, you want to go to a football game? Like, if you don't have a connection, man, dude, it's so expensive. But like, dude, I remember we went to a Sox game years ago, to see the Angels play, Mike Trout play. Dude, we sat like 8 rows behind the dugout, maybe not even, for like $20. Like, dude, that just doesn't happen, like, in other sports.
Yeah, Sox were bad back then. Now those tickets are probably like 90, but, I mean, still, that's not a bad price for seats for those.
Well, especially if you're going towards the end of the season, when they just want to fill some seats, get the tickets, cheap, blah, 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 especially if it's two teams that are really, Angels and Sox at the time, not going anywhere. So, yeah, tickets are going to be cheap for it. But
I think I paid like $50 for like down the line against the Astros. So that was a really good game right after the All-Star break and packed stadium. I mean, Sox fans are coming up, so those prices are coming up a little.
Dude, I'm
bunch of bandwagon fans coming out.
Like, I'm just gonna say, I'm so glad we're finally talking baseball, man. Like, oh my god, it's so long.
I love to talk about it, but it's just annoying to fucking sit here.
And that's the thing is,
come back to reality where it's
talking about it, and like what we were just talking about was not lockout oriented. So it's just like, dude, it's getting me excited for the baseball season, and it's just like it goes back to that thing. It's like, dude, we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. And that's the other thing. We were trying to plan our stadium this year. Like we want to go think like, we kind of know the month we want to go, but like schedules aren't out because they don't know what the hell's going to happen. So it sucks.
Yeah, it's tough.
But
maybe I was gonna say,
go ahead.
I know Ryan talked about when you guys were talking about the Cincinnati trip or whatever. So just a quick thing for like Washington. I think Soto, so Soto's asking for a contract.
Yeah, he turned down
he turned like 350 mil down.
Yeah, it was like 12 for 325. It was something, dude.
Do Nationals pay him or should he go somewhere else?
Listen, I know
the way I see it. The way I see it, is it a calling for he wants out because that team's not going anywhere?
I think Soto,
he's just demanding more money.
I mean, you got to think Soto's. I know defensively, I don't really watch it, but like I know that he's not good defensively. From what I hear, I think he's like average. But dude, like he's probably a top 5. He's so young too. Like he's probably a top 5, top 10 if not then player in the league. It's like, and you look at the kind of money these guys make in the MLB. Like I get the testing the free agency thing. Like obviously he's kind of betting on himself in the sense of, he wants to go to free agency, so like, there's other teams kind of wagering and he can kind of get the best of, what he wants. Like he can get more money because, teams will have to counter other teams as opposed to right now, it's just kind of the Nationals, negotiating against themselves. So I get that, but like the only thing I guess he could risk is like, he gets hurt or something. But like he's such a unique player, for a young player in terms of like how patient he is at the plate and how good of an eye he has. Like, because a lot of the young guys you see today, like, the big thing is they strike out a lot.
Yeah.
And like that's what's so unique about him is his ability to see the ball. It was cool that we got to see him play in Cincinnati this year. It was the first time I ever saw him in person. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if his contract's up like this year or whatever, if they just offered him an extension.
And that's like,
I mean,
like the big thing
they got the
like,
money.
The big like comparison is always him and Acuna, right? Because they kind of came up in the same year. They're both super young. And dude, that's how you think about how crazy of a steal Atlanta got Acuna for. I think it was like 7 years, 7 years, 100 million, something like that when they signed him. Soto's turning down 12-year, $325 million contracts. It's wild.
But I think he wants out. That's my opinion. Yeah, you could say he wants more money. I just think he.
You guys are both saying yes.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. I think it was the fact that he saw them trade away Trey Turner, who's another young, really, top player in the league. And Scherzer. Like, Scherzer, the only reason I would give him a little bit of slack if I was Soto is like, all right, Scherzer is, a free agent. He is older. Trey Turner's not. He's young, man. Like that. You got to build it on more than one guy.
He doesn't want to be around for another rebuild. Maybe he just wants to win.
That's what, yeah, and that's what I think. I think he does, dude. He got a taste of winning early in his career. And I think he, I think he loves the game and I think he wants to win. I don't even think it's like, I don't think it's about the money. I really don't think it's about the money now that like the more we talk about it with him. Because, dude,
well, that's what I was saying. Like, he already won a ring, so it's kind of like, does he want the money?
$325 million, man. Like, dude, how much more do you need?
I'm sorry.
That's your kids will be rich.
Like, do you want to stay since you already have a championship and hope that they get more players? Because I mean, they were the third worst team last year in the National League. But
I think you can look at it this way for him. He got in off to such a hot start, and how young he is. Like, down the line, he could be he can look at himself and think, dude, like, I could be one of the best baseball players, if not the best baseball player of all time. Like, you have that ability. Like, you have that potential. And like,
I mean, right now he's at a Hall of Fame career.
Would you ever consider, I mean, think about like that's the knock against Mike Trout. The guy can't make the playoffs, and like he signed with the Angels, and like, hey, the Angels, they've progressed in the right direction. I mean, they got Ohtani. Like they try, but like, I don't know. That's one of the biggest shames is you never see Trout. That's the thing. Does Soto want to be a guy who is just on a losing 500 team? Obviously great numbers every year, but like no real success winning wise. I don't know.
I also want to talk about where Freddie Freeman's gonna go if he leaves Atlanta.
Well, let's get into the free agent stuff. For sure. Yeah, so I think it was Freddie Freeman. There was like growing like belief that he won't be returning to Atlanta, which shocked me. Like, cause my thought was like I know they won last year. But, like, dude, he's been there for
he said he doesn't want to go back.
So long. I don't know if I don't know. I just know I got a notification.
There was
it was like there's growing belief that
someone from MLB
may not return. Like, it's becoming more realistic that he won't return to Atlanta.
If it's not from him, I don't really trust those.
Yeah, I don't totally know. I know, like,
the only other place that's looking at him is the Yankees.
Yeah, early on was the Yankees. My favorite news since the lockout I've seen was that Rizzo and the Cubs were like considering a reunion. I saw that, like, that was an interest, and I told Ryan.
Me Freeman.
Well, of course, but like because like, man, us Cubs fans went through such a depressing offseason in terms of like, man, like, you know, the team that got us the ring finally is, you know, got broken up essentially, which it needed to happen. It was time, but like, still sucked. And I told Ryan like, you know, Ernie Banks is Mr. Cub. I felt like Rizzo's like kind of the modern day of our era, Mr. Cub. Like, he's just like. Even like teams that hate the Cubs seem to like Anthony Rizzo. Like, he's just like, I don't know. But he was the one guy I kind of wanted back. Out of the main ones we all lost, but that was definitely my favorite thing. But yeah, I mean, the Yankee, you know, with these free agency Yankees, the evil empire will be in for every player. It seems like every year.
I think Bryant's gonna go to Seattle. Seattle's been
we can I'll pull up I can pull up the list and we can go down the list and of the bigger names.
Yeah, they don't even pay their own players.
Come on, they pick Grendel.
Dang. All right.
Hey, that's why we got money to spend. We offered Harper a contract.
So
that's why
we offered Wheeler a contract.
Yeah,
I don't think we offered Machado one, but I think we might have.
You were close.
Well, you guys had yeah.
So just to start, I know he's old, but one of the best pitchers of all time, Clayton Kershaw.
I think he just stays in.
I don't think he's staying.
LA.
I don't think he's staying in the Dodgers. You think he stays?
I think he stays.
I don't think he stays.
Not for a big contract, but I think he stays.
It's possible. I don't know. I feel like he's.
Who else is gonna pay for a guy who's got back problems?
Well, at the end of the day, it's gonna be what kind of offers is he getting? Because like, there could be a team that throws a bag at him, like, not in terms of like, you know, crazy amount of money, but like, hey, team's got some money. Like, the Yankees are a perfect example. That team that just has money and might just they're not expecting much out of them. So
I don't know, because it's like, say if the Dodgers offered you 1 year for $7 million and the Yankees offered you $1 million for $12 million, you going to the Yankees? Or are you sticking with the Dodgers?
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in LA. Just, I mean, that's a tough thing with these guys who have spent their whole careers somewhere. Is like, you think about it, like, you're uprooting your whole life. Like, you know, your kids grew up there. You've been part of that community for however long he's been in the league, probably what, 12 years ish, probably around there. Because I know he's 33. So yeah, it's definitely interesting.
He's got a couple of years left, and then he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, Dodgers wouldn't surprise. I don't really have a team that I think he's going to, so I guess I would say Dodgers. I guess, but I don't know. Next would be Chris Bryant. So traded to San Fran from our Cubs.
Seattle. He's probably gonna go to Seattle.
That's what I think as well. I think Seattle.
After losing Kyle Seager.
As much as I don't care to see him on the South Side, it's definitely a possibility he could become there. Just because of the boxes he fills. He's an outfielder and a third baseman.
Well, your guys
Sox kind of need both. I mean, they don't need a third baseman; they need an outfielder. But
you need an outfielder. You need a second baseman.
We just need a right fielder. Yeah, second baseman obviously we need, but there's not too many out there. I also trade for someone.
So do you think that's where you think is Chicago White Sox for Ryan?
I'm gonna say no. He doesn't end there. The Mariners might be a little more realistic now that they're losing because they lost Seager. As in Kyle, not
Corey.
Chris.
Wait,
Corey.
didn't they sign
No,
somebody?
Kyle Seager.
Didn't they sign somebody?
I don't know. I just know I've been seeing a lot of I just seen his name pop up a lot.
They signed Robbie Ray.
Seattle? Oh yeah, I thought you were thinking of an infielder. I knew they signed him, but I don't know because I mean, who else is looking at him? The Mets are looking at him at Bryant. The Angels are looking at Bryant, but I mean, it's like
realistically,
you got Rendon at third, and you got. I mean, I guess you could put him at first. Yeah.
For Mike Trout's sake, I hope so.
When you have an agent like Scott Boras, you know, I think
Freddie's guy's agent for fucking everybody, man. It's kind of annoying.
Padres, that's another team that they said are interested in Bryant.
So, yeah, he's definitely outfield for that team because they got Machado.
No, because Tatis is gonna move outfield, and then Machado can move to short.
All right, Freddie Freeman, we kind of covered. We can kind of give a prediction where we think he's gonna go.
I'm saying he's staying at Braves.
I'm gonna say he stays at the Braves as well.
I don't have a prediction for that one. I don't know.
Otherwise, the other teams are looking at like our Yankees and Dodgers.
Dude, it's just see. This is the tough thing with these guys.
Any teams,
dude, it's hard to see Freddie Freeman in anywhere but.
Can't really say any team.
I could see him going to like really any team in New York. Like
that's the only other team in my.
He's not gonna get. He's gonna get paid, but he's not gonna get a $300 million fucking deal.
He is 32. So
yeah, he'll probably get like 150.
If he's signed to
that's reasonable for a lot of.
He's not going to get that Harper level contract because that would literally be he'd literally be in his mid 40s almost by the time that contract is up. And we've seen what happened with Pujols, same position, best at his position at the time, MVP player. Like Angels are, I guarantee. I mean, it's not like he was bad for the Angels, but towards the end, it's like, dude, that guy's not worth the money.
He was good for like maybe 2 years.
Yeah, and that's what you gotta fear. But yeah, I see him on the Braves as well. But if not, probably unfortunately, I'd say the Yankees.
It'd be funny if he came to the Cubs. Between him and Rizzo, like their little thing together, and then he comes. I mean, fuck, we could afford him. We got the money for it.
All right, so next would probably be Nick Castellanos.
I don't know right now. I don't know because how much are you? I mean, my opinion, I think he's 100 million plus kind of guy.
Me and Ryan have talked. We loved him on the Cubs.
Oh, absolutely. That's the number one player I would want back on the team. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I'd say Correa, but that's not realistically going to happen. So I'd say Castellanos, but I don't know where Castellanos is going to go. I don't picture. I can't.
I'm gonna say this right now. If the Sox pay one guy, it's gonna be him.
Yeah, dude, and
he'll get 100+ million for like 5-6 years, and they'll pay him.
So at the beginning of free agency, my prediction was Texas. That's where I thought he was gonna go. But after all the deals they made, I don't think that they'll sign him.
$500 million.
So much as I hate to say it, I do think the White Sox are my prediction for him.
You're hurting Ryan's heart.
I don't think so. Like, I'm not just saying that because
like I said, if they're going to pay someone, it's going to be him. And if they don't pay anyone, they're just going to go for some kind of trade or something or, deal with what they got. But if they're going to pay someone, that's the guy they're going to pay. He checks all their boxes. They needed a right fielder. He's produced for the past how many years? One of the best in the league. Got a great arm, too. So it's...
I'm gonna go with the Giants. I think I could see the Giants.
I could see the Giants.
If they're gonna lose Chris Bryant and that dude, Castellanos is a double machine. If he always hits the right center gap, and we all know in San Francisco right center gap.
Yeah, it'll be leading the league in
triples.
So I don't know. That's my prediction. Is San Fran? I could see it. I see him more of an NL team. But we'll see. Who knows? Like I said, free agency, you never know what will happen.
All right. Next is Trevor Story. So my prediction for him is I think he's going to be changing his number because I think he's going to the Angels. That's my prediction. I think he's going to go to the Angels. So I think he's going to have to change his number because Mike Trout's got that 27 on lock.
I'm okay with that as long as he doesn't go to the Yankees, which is like the favorite. So
yeah, boo. I'm gonna give them that.
No, I was gonna say they're probably going to the Yankees for that team for Story.
I'm gonna tell you what though,
I can't really see him going anywhere else.
I'm just speaking this as a Cubs fan. I'm gonna be freaking pissed if we don't sign a shortstop out of this.
Let me put it this way: Yankees are getting one or the other, Correa or Story. They're gonna get one of them.
Man, after all that shit he talked about the Yankees, I'd be interested in him to go there. Correa,
I don't give a fuck. They're trying to win a World Series because they.
I know.
I'm just
I know.
saying,
I know. Correa had like ties to Detroit with What's the manager's name? That was in Houston. The guy who the cheater. Why can't I think of his name?
Why am I thinking of like an F?
Dude, I can't think of his name.
Was he
the manager? The
manager.
Hinch.
Hinch. Yeah. I know he had ties to there, and like they were going out to
dinner. I know,
and
but
stuff.
they signed Baez.
But that's what I'm saying. And then they signed Baez. So,
are they gonna pay more?
No. I was just saying. I know that was like maybe a possibility.
Does Baez want to play second?
I mean, that's where he started, but
Oh, like look. Hold on. Okay, maybe if the Astros get rid of Story or get rid of Correa, they might go after Story. I'm not sure who they really have to replace him besides Bregman.
I wonder how much the cheating thing, like the whole cheating thing with the Astros, I wonder how much that affects
guys that want to go there.
Yeah, players.
I think they're kind of over it.
Yeah. I mean,
as a fan, I'm kind of over it. But
I'm over it too. I mean, regardless,
I'm solid anyway.
But I'm just saying, like, if you go through teams, so we're talking about Correa. You're going through the leagues. Rays have a shortstop. Red Sox have a shortstop. Blue Jays have a shortstop.
I mean, I could give you my
Orioles are rebuilding. Yankees are, Yankees.
I could give you my career prediction right now.
Go ahead.
The Chicago Cubs. Bias or not, I think that was I don't think it's unrealistic. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a Cub, but I would say they're in that top 3 of teams that are contending for him. I mean, right before the lockout, the Cubs were the favorite to sign him for the lockout. I know it started with Detroit, but I of course this is bias involved, but I think the Cubs are going to sign him. And then I think with the trade for Madrigal, who I know Ryan you're really high on, I'm high on him as well because I've said the Cubs have never had that consistent 300 hitter. Which obviously is still young, coming off an injury, so we'll see. But I think if you believe in Madrigal, like I think we both do, and sign Correa, you have your middle infield for the future for years.
Chad, go ahead and finish off the divisions because I want to hear the rest of these teams that need a shortstop.
I also looked that up.
Indians could use one.
You mean the
but
Guardians?
I don't know if they're rebuilding.
Guardians.
I'm sorry. Which is actually funny. Oh, this is funny because I'm on ESPN and they still have them as the Indians, but they have the logo changed to the Guardians.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Tigers, they signed Baez.
ESPN for anything other than football and basketball. They're lost.
They're terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Tigers just signed one. Royals, they have one. Twins. Twins are kind of like in a rebuilding stage too.
And you got
the Astros who technically have one current. Actually, they don't have one currently. Mariners. Who do the Mariners have?
JP Crawford.
Shortstop. Yeah, I mean the Mariners need shortstop.
JP.
So they could sign him. The A's have.
I mean, I know this is old. This is prior to Seager. But just to John Heyman, this is November 9th. It said 13 teams are gauging the shortstop market. This is before Seager signed. This is before Baez. It was Philly, Detroit, which obviously Detroit got Correa. Texas got Seager. The Yankees, the Dodgers, the Angels, Minnesota, Houston, Cubs, Cardinals, Rockies, Seattle, and Boston.
But now if you think about that, how many of those teams
what's the most surprising?
Are rebuilding? Rockies are rebuilding.
Colorado, it's definitely, Minnesota, I would say.
Minnesota, they traded last in our division, so I feel like they're rebuilding.
Minnesota, yeah. Detroit, but they already signed one.
Phillies is an interesting one because the Sox are looking at trading for Segura to put him at second.
You know who I'm
So
surprised?
it'd be interesting if they lose their shortstop and then they go sign one.
You know, out of those teams, who I'm the most surprised is on there is Boston. They got Bogarts. I mean, I know he's not.
Well,
the
they
best
talked about
fielder.
trading him.
Man, that'd be interesting.
And I don't remember.
I
I don't
wonder
remember what
why.
team.
He's so good and consistent.
Well,
I know
I don't
defensively
remember
he's not
why.
top of the league, but like, man,
I just remember hearing that they were talking about they could trade him if they wanted some other pieces for other
I wonder
places.
if would moving him to second base be something they were thinking about or no? Because I know like his
possible.
big like critique is his defense. Like as a hitter, he's stud
Yeah, he's
every
probably
year.
below average defender.
Yeah, and at shortstop, obviously, is probably the most important defensive position on the field.
I wonder how much this lockout plays an impact with that. Because, like, yeah, maybe they were going to trade Bogarts, but now that this season is literally going to be shortened, do they now change their minds on this?
Yeah,
because
and that's going to depend.
Well,
Like, if
they could all talk, but there's nothing that can be said.
Well,
they
like
could
I said,
verbally say like,
under
"Hey,
the table,
we're
let's be
trading
real.
Bogarts to, whatever team for this guy and a draft pick and money or whatever." But then like the lockout ends and it's like, "Oh no, I backed out on it." So there's no. They could do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and
yeah,
in the
because
end,
technically there's nothing official signing wise.
Yeah.
You can't sign anyone, so it's literally all verbal stuff at this point. So it's just a matter of going back on, you know.
Oh
their
yeah,
word.
for your sake, for Correa and Story. Yes, the Cubs need one. Houston needs one. The Dodgers don't need one. The Angels could use one.
Yeah, the thing with the Dodgers is
Could.
like, dude, they'll do fucking anything. Man. Who played short that for them? Wasn't it
Seager? Turner was at second.
Turner was at
Seager.
second. So yeah,
It was Seager. Yeah.
Seager was at second.
I mean,
no, short. Seager was at short.
Seager was at short. That's why I'm saying
Turner was at second. When Seager was out though with injury, Turner was at second. Or
yeah, and Mookie
of
played
course,
second.
of
Mookie
course.
played.
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna mark them off just because I don't think they need a shortstop. They have Turner. So yes, I think the Cubs are up there to get one. I don't know which one.
That's where I'm at the end of the day. If they get Correa, oh my god, yeah.
Listen,
but at the end of the day, they better get a shortstop because Nico Horner, I'm sorry, is not the move.
Yeah, no. And listen, I'm a big Trevor Story fan. Like I have his jersey. I've been a fan of him since his rookie year. But like at the end of the day, man, I'll take Correa instead. The only thing that's kind of scares me with Correa is injuries. But like Story's had plenty of injuries in his career too. So it's just like, that's kind of a flaw for each player. I just feel like Correa's got, between those two players, I think Correa's got the better arm. I think he's got more power. I think he's just straight up a better fielder. But and on Story's side, he's definitely faster. I don't know. Defensively, they're both. I think Story's very underrated.
Correa's got an arm.
Yeah, I think he's very underrated defensively because of the way he came into the league. Like no one saw him coming. Like he was even in the minors, he didn't have this kind of pop that he's had. And obviously, hey, he's not going to be in Colorado anymore, so we'll see if that power production dips a little bit. Assuming he doesn't go there, which I don't think he will. But
technically, if the Phillies
move
one
of the
Segura,
fastest
then
players
yes, they
in the
might
league.
go after one. But then I think the Cardinals or the Cubs will get one.
I think the Phillies.
But then you can argue one in the West will get one in the AL West: Astros, Mariners, or Angels.
True.
One of those three teams need a shortstop.
Super interesting because I think they've kind of underachieved since signing Harper.
Well, they had a lot of injuries though.
Yeah, no, but
like
at the end of the day,
going down, he was doing really well when he went down, and Segura.
The problem is like, all right, so I'm looking at like available shortstops right now, and like I know this was a huge shortstop like free agency this year. Right now, it's Story, it's Correa, and then you have guys like Andrelton Simmons, Jonathan VR, Freddie Galvis.
Yeah, people that no one wants.
Bums.
No one.
Pete Cosma, any relation to Matt?
I could see is I could see Houston maybe moving Bregman over to short.
I know.
I'm trying to think.
But then you'd have to see like, okay, there would have to be a third baseman.
Chris Bryant.
There would have to be a Chris Bryant. Yeah.
I mean, that is
Matt
a possibility.
Carpenter. Oh, thanks.
Or they could just trade for someone.
Yeah,
I mean, Houston's not really looking to do much.
I mean, I know he's not the best
they're a World
defensive
Series
player.
team.
I know he's not the best defensive player, but he played there. It's Castellanos. I mean, he hasn't played third in a couple of years, but he played there in Detroit.
Yeah.
Forget about that.
I don't know which one he prefers. But
I think for like going into next week's podcast, whatever, I think we should do like, you have your free agent list. Like we all have a prediction for where our free agent's going to land, so we just have that as like a prediction.
I agree.
I mean, talk about this all day.
Realistically, yeah, dude. I think
because we still have other freaking free agents to talk about.
We got a lot of baseball to get into, and I'm really excited.
We got Schwarber. The Sox have looked into getting him too.
Yeah, I mean, in terms
Carlos
of
Rodon, where's he gonna go?
In the big terms of big names free agents, I mean that's kind of like really big names. It's kind of it. I mean you have guys like Kenley Jansen, but he's 34. Zach Greinke, but he's 38.
Yeah, Greinke.
Andrew Miller's 36. He hasn't been good in a while. Michael Conforto's an interesting one. Young, he's 20. He's about to be 29.
Yeah, that's another guy.
Schwarber, obviously.
I heard.
Thank you.
What's his name? Kevin Kiermaier. His name was floating around as well.
Oh, and Rizzo.
He's just not
Didn't get to Rizzo.
He's not. Oh yeah, Rizzo too.
Rizzo.
Cruz.
And the possible
the ageless wonder.
NLDH. Possibly coming.
Well, that's why a lot of these guys have waited to sign. Like the DH guys, like Soler, Cruz, because if there's going to be an NLDH.
Oh yeah, because if you're a DH guy like Cruz, all of a sudden 15 more teams become an option. With the DH. But that'll probably do it for this episode. I know I feel like we could be going on about this for another 3 hours at this point, but
we'll talk more next week on it, and
especially football season's officially over. Obviously, we're gonna be we'll talk about like some NFL free agency stuff when that starts to kind of get moving and like stuff starts to happen in that front. But I think we're all kind of looking forward to talking baseball and like kind of getting into this. I think we just kind of scratched the surface here. This episode.
We'll know by next podcast what's going to happen
with
the season.
Right.
And who knows?
Hopefully
we can have predictions.
Yeah.
But those guys might even be signed. So
hopefully next week, we're coming on here with some good news. So everyone, let's hope. I'm
not getting my hopes up, but
no, we'll see.
That's just me personally. Ryan, on the other hand, he's got some high hopes.
But just to quickly recap, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for the support on the last video. I know the audio wasn't the best. It was our first time doing the in-person thing. It was a lot of fun. But you guys showed a lot of support. Definitely our most views by far, by almost double. So really appreciate that. But and then once again, wanted to say congratulations to Cody on your giveaway win. But yeah, that'll pretty much do it.
Hit that likes, subscribe, please, comment,
like, share.
What do you think's gonna
feedback?
What? I
don't
care.
I want feedback.
Listen, if there's something you want to hear that we haven't talked about, let us know. We're more than happy to talk about that for you, or any questions you might have that we can answer. Anytime.
Interact the audience.
You're selling baseball cards to me.
If you want to come on the show, hit us up.
All right. But yeah, that'll do it. So thank you.
Y'all have a good weekend.
And that's a wrap.